But of course, you should have known. Why on earth should I know? I've always trusted you. Always. But I lived with Jason. He was my friend, one of our best friends. He just lost his wife. Why would I think you were having sex with him? I didn't have sex with him. I consoled him. Having sex. He needed someone to take care of him. He needed comfort. He needed physical touch to help with emotional healing. So hold his hand. Hug him, but don't sleep with him. Not when you're married to me. He was devastated. He's your best friend. My heart was breaking for him. So you had sex with him? I consoled him. Don't make it sound so tasteless. This is bad taste. I can't believe you. God, I can't believe you. Just get out. Get out of this fucking house. I will not leave. I won't be able to explain to you what happened if I'm not here with you. You've already explained everything. Now I have to decide what to do about it. So get your shit together and get out of this house, or God help me, I'll throw you out. Patrick, you're overreacting. There is nothing about this to be upset about. A good friend was in need. All I did was help him through difficult times. By fucking him. Stop saying that. He was in pain. I did everything I could to make it easier. By fucking him. Stop that, stop that. I did something good and you're trying to downplay it. Get out. I'm going out to get something to eat. And when I come back in an hour, you better leave. She didn't disappear. I walked into our house from the garage and she was sitting at the kitchen table. Have you scratched your crazy ego enough? Are you ready to talk about this like an adult? I glared at her and walked past her, going up the stairs to our bedroom. I could see that she hadn't made any effort to pack any bags or even get her things together. Fine. If she's not going to leave, then I will. I will not stay in the same house with her a minute longer than necessary. I took 3 suitcases from the attic and began stuffing clothes into them. I tried to move quickly, albeit sloppily, so I was almost finished when Marlene came for me. What are you doing, Patrick? Address with full name. She's been sleeping with our friend for 3 weeks and I'm the one behaving badly. Incredible. What's not clear? Since you don't want to leave, I'll leave. Please do not go. We have to get through this together. I ignored her, stuffing the last clothes that might fit. I went into the master bathroom and immediately gathered my toiletries. Patrick. Please. You're being ridiculous. Stop acting like a petulant child. Nobody stole your toys. No, I growled. You gave that fucking asshole a lot more than my fucking toys. I love you, Patty. You know it. But I don't belong to you. Jason needed someone to share his grief, and I was there. He is our friend. This means nothing to us, to our marriage. He will never be my friend again. And that means everything. Con to our marriage. I zipped up the last bag. I grabbed 2 suitcases and put them in the trunk of my car. Marlene followed me down the stairs, talking the whole time. Patty, please, stop this nonsense. I can see that your pride is hurt, but in fact it was nothing. I was just helping a friend. He's one of your best friends. He was. Now he is dead to me, as dead as his late wife, Sarah. This stopped her for a while. I've known Jason since we were 12, when his family moved next door to ours. He was an old friend of mine and one of the 3 guys I usually counted on in any situation. But this betrayal put an end to everything. Please slow down, Patty. Talk to me. Let me explain. She followed me into the office. I was assembling my desk, and she was leaning against hers against the opposite wall. You've already made everything clear enough. There's nothing more to explain. He was sad. You fucked him. I'm leaving you. Please, Patty, don't go. Stay here. We always discussed everything. We are going to expand our family. We have so much ahead of us. There is no need for this drama. Everything will be fine. You'll see. You love me, I love you. My feelings for you haven't changed at all. I closed my backpack and looked her straight in the eyes. But my feelings for you have changed. Goodbye, Marlene. My lawyer will contact you. She gasped when I walked out. An avalanche of calls and messages began as soon as I drove away from home. I deleted everything from Marlene without reading or listening. I went to the gym to throw out some of my bubbling energy. It helped, but not enough. After showering and clearing my phone of Marlene's latest messages, I checked into a motel near work. I didn't worry about unwanted visitors. However, my phone kept buzzing, so after another couple of hours, I finally blocked Marlene's number. My relief was short-lived. Calls started from my parents and my sister. These conversations were short. "What's going on, Patty?" Marlene called and said you left her. "Did she tell you why?" "No, you were just upset. You know every marriage has its rough patches, Patty. You have to stick together and work on them." "She had sex with Jason for 3 weeks." "What?" "She had sex with Jason for 3 weeks to help him overcome his grief." "But this doesn't make any sense at all." "Are you sure?" She told me. "Oh, you must have misheard. This can't be true. It's just a misunderstanding. You need to sort things out with her. She's your wife, honey. Goodbye, Mom." I had almost the same conversation with Carly. Apparently, Marlene's infidelity was my problem, not hers, at least according to my family. I must have missed the part of Florence Nightingale's story where she had sex with all her patients, restoring them to health. I bought a sandwich and salad from Whole Foods and ate them in my hotel room while watching the game. I couldn't tell you anything about the food or the game. At some point, my phone rang. It was Jason. "Fuck you, asshole. Don't ever talk to me again." I pressed end before he could say a word. Then I blocked his number too. The next day wasn't much better. Marlene was using friends' phones, so I just started blocking those numbers when she used them. I deleted voicemails as soon as I heard they were from her, or from friends calling on her behalf. Her messages showed her growing frustration. "Talk to me, Patty. Please. Come home and talk to me. We need 2 conversations, honey. Call me. I am worried about you. Nothing special. Talk to me. Call me. Stop this nonsense and come home. Damn it, Patty, call me. Blah, blah, blah." The time between messages and calls was lengthening, so either she was finding it increasingly difficult to find phones, or she realized that I was not going to answer. I was watching the game and couldn't remember what I ate. Or did you eat at all? I remember going outside to get some fresh air, but it was cloudy with occasional rain, so I didn't stay outside for long. Monday arrived right on schedule and I got to work. I handle insurance claims. It's not very exciting, but it has to be done, and my feedback says I'm pretty good at it. Plus, they pay quite well for it. The first thing I did was meet with my boss and tell him that Marlene and I had broken up, so I would need some time during the day to sort things out. He said that was fine, but he expected me to stay late to finish the job. This suited me just fine. What else could I do? Marlene called 10 minutes after I sat down at my desk. I recognized the number, but I had to answer phone calls as part of my job, and I knew she was unrestrained when it came to using the phone. "What do you want, Marlene?" "God bless. Patty, please come home. I love you and miss you so much. We need to talk." No need. You said everything I wanted to hear on this issue. You just don't understand. It didn't mean anything. I really understand, and that's all. You made your position very clear, and I think I was just as clear in mine. So let's just move on. Oh, thank you, honey. I'm so glad to hear this from you. What time will you be home tonight? I have everything to make lasagna. Could you buy a bottle of good wine on the way home? I'm not coming home, Marlene. When I say move on, I mean divorce. Infidelity to me is a deal breaker. No, you can't divorce me. I love you, and I know that you love me. Come home so we can talk. Please. I heard her crying. We have nothing to talk about, Marlene. This is as simple as it gets. We have opposing views on the central issue of our marriage. And now I need to get back to work. You know how Will feels about personal calls at work. Don't hang up. We need to talk. If you hang up, I'll call you right back. And I'll keep calling until you agree to meet with me to resolve this whole matter. Crap. She had leverage here, so I agreed. I won't come home, but we'll meet at Julia's at 6:30. Thank you, Patty. Thank you. I love you. See you there. I just hung up. The rest of the workday sucked. I went to the bank and divided our joint accounts. I called our credit cards but couldn't close them until we paid them off. However, I asked for the credit limits to be lowered. I called our HR department and changed the beneficiaries on my insurance policy and 401k account. We'll have to deal with the house later. It was mine before we got married. But Marlene contributed a lot to the mortgage payments. Thank God we didn't have any kids to worry about. I was careful and took enough time to leave work and be at Julia by the appointed time. As I parked, I saw Marlene's car. Also good. I don't believe in the bullshit about taking the high ground and controlling the battlefield unless you're fighting a real battle. In these things, you say what you mean and let the cards fall where they may. I found her quite easily and sat down opposite her without saying hello. Marlene smiled at me, but without much confidence. "Hi, darling. I'm glad you decided to come. I want to leave all this behind so you can come home." I just stared at her. Her smile faded a little, but she was in the game. "I'm sorry you're hurt, but it was really nothing. I don't like Jason. He needed me, and I was there for him. As a friend. Like a friend who slept with him for 3 weeks. Please stop, Patty. This doesn't really help our situation. Apparently, I'm the first guy in history to be cuckolded by a more pathetic man. Do you know how this makes me feel?" She sighed. "You're not pathetic. I love you. Only you. I miss you. I need you. Please come home. You had sex with Jason within 3 weeks. Maybe you should ask him to come home. I don't like Jason, but you slept with him 3 weeks." She clenched her teeth tightly, and her eyes bulged from their sockets with tension. "Please, just stop, Patty. I see you're in a lot of pain. I thought you loved me and you loved Jason enough to know it was just kindness. There was no passion, no love. I consoled him. That's all. You fucked him. Damn it, Patty! Is that all you're gonna say? I'm trying to explain what happened, but you're just being stubborn. It didn't mean anything." "Then why did you do it, Marlene?" "If it didn't mean anything." This brought her to her feet. "Darling, I know you feel like this was wrong. I'm not defending myself. I see the pain in your eyes. I hurt you, and I'm so sorry. I was just being compassionate. I thought you would understand. But we can leave this in the past. We can go back to the way things were. Just give me a chance, and I'll prove it to you. I will do everything to make amends to you. Too late. There are things you can't get back." Marlene tried to grab my hand, but I pulled my hands away. Her disappointment showed in a sharp intake of breath. "Talk to me, Patty. Please tell me what I can do. Please. We need to fix this. Sign the papers when you are served." She didn't sign the papers. Instead, she filed a counter-complaint, challenging everything in my petition and adding a request for relationship counseling. I resisted, but the judge ruled in favor of counseling, so late Tuesday night I sat next to Marlene in front of Joanna DeMillo, MFT. "What would you like to achieve during your time here, Patrick?" "I want to do everything that will speed up the divorce." So you're not interested in saving your marriage?" "I don't have a mariage. She violated the terms, rendering them invalid. Now we just have to make it official. Marlene, as I understand it, you have a different goal." Marlene was already crying. "I just want this nightmare to end. I want Patty to come home where he belongs. I want my husband back in our house, back in our bed. I miss him so much. As I understand it, the problem is that you had sex with your friend for 3 weeks while he was grieving the loss of his wife." "This is true?" "Yes." Patty and I went to the funeral, and I took some more time off to help Jason around the house. Patty left because he had to go to work. Jason was so lost, so depressed. I started out just holding him while he cried, but pretty soon he started clinging to me, then kissing me, then caressing me. A couple of days later, we slept together. But it was just sex. I don't love him and never have. It was just kindness towards a good friend who was suffering so much. "And you didn't discuss this with Patrick?" "I did it as soon as I returned from St. Louis. I told him what happened." "And what did you expect his reaction to be?" "I thought he would understand." Jason has been Patty's friend since they were children. He saw how sad Jason was at the funeral. I thought Patty would understand that I was just helping Jason deal with his grief. Marlene sniffled and wiped her nose. It was just sex. It didn't mean anything. Patrick seems to see it differently. Would you like to tell us more about your feelings, Patrick? Sex should be the only thing that exists between us, and that belongs only to us. This is how we know we are completely committed to each other. But I told you that I don't love anyone else. From the day we met, my heart has always belonged only to you. Prove it. What do you mean, prove it? You know it's true. You know it. How do I know that you love me? I tell you this every day. Words come easily. Actions show the truth. I do 100 things for you with love every day. Like what? I'm preparing dinner for you. I kiss you all the time. I listen to what you tell me. I make love to you. You cook dinner for our friends and families. You kiss your parents and my parents. You listen to everything your sister tells you. And you slept with Jason. So tell me, what are you doing for me alone? Don't be funny. Everything is different with you. Is it so? How do I know this? Our loyalty was the only thing we had and was only for each other. And you gave it up for Jason. Now there is nothing that belongs only to us. It is not true. We have our love. I don't like Jason. I don't love anyone as much as I love you. But you can't prove it to me. And the way you just unceremoniously dismissed our promises to each other shows that in my heart I cannot trust you. So we're done. No, stop saying that. You do not understand. I think we've gone as far as we could together now, Joanna said softly but definitely. I would like to spend the rest of today's session alone with Patrick. Can you be back at 4 on Thursday, Marlene? This is our next session, and then we will have an hour to work together. Marlene left, sobbing. I felt very awkward being alone with the therapist. Is there any way you can refuse the divorce? No. That's pretty definite. So no mitigating circumstances? If she had been drugged, it would have been a completely different matter. I would give her everything I had and then kill the bastard who did it. One drunken mistake. I don't know if I could forgive it, but at least maybe there would be a way back. But this? She deliberately decided to have sex with Jason for 3 weeks, spending nights in his bed as if she were his wife. This is such a massive betrayal that I will never get over it. Do you think there is a difference between sex and making love? Certainly. So she could have just had sex with Jason. She could still make love only to you. How can you tell the difference? I don't know. Can you tell the difference? I can't. I know my own feelings, but I don't know yours or anyone else's except by what I see. I paused. Do you know how to determine how important a commitment is to someone? Tell me. It all depends on what you have to sacrifice to fulfill them. Monogamy is really hard. Having one partner for 50 or 60 years and giving up all the others is hard. There are boredom, misunderstandings, malaise, moods, conflicts, and all sorts of other things that can tempt you. So when you choose to sacrifice intimacy with everyone else in the world, you are demonstrating how committed you are to your partner. In my opinion, this is how you know if someone loves you the way a partner should love you. They are willing to make huge sacrifices day after day to show you that they love you. When she made the decision to sleep with Jason, Marlene showed me that she was not ready to make such a sacrifice. And there's nothing more she could sacrifice to make up for it. If I stayed married to her, I would have to defend myself against this kind of betrayal every day. And that is not the kind of marriage I want to be in. So, there is no chance? No one. Do you believe that people can make mistakes? That one action does not define a person? Yes, but a mistake is a one-time mistake, non-repetitive action. There's no turning back from this. Then I will need to prepare Marlene for the divorce. There is no reason to waste time if you are not ready to reconcile. It was a pleasant surprise. So, I'm not needed here on Thursday? No, not needed. She is devastated and your presence here would simply turn the knife. I understand your feelings and see how strong they are, but if you change your mind, I'd be happy to work with you again, either alone or with Marlene. Thank you. But I won't change my mind. I haven't changed my mind. Marlene was inconsolable every time I saw her. I stopped going to meetings with our lawyers because she started crying as soon as she saw me. I didn't like seeing her hurt, but I suffered too. I was furious for the first few weeks, but I was also numb. Once I got my own small apartment and settled into a new routine, returning home seemed so exhausting that I stayed at work as late as possible. My work had never been more efficient, and my colleagues were furious that my extensive documentation made them look inferior. I really missed Marlene. Her absence was felt intuitively, and I got used to the spasm that gripped my heart. I lay in bed wondering if I had made the right choice. I missed her because I really loved her so much. She was kind, generous, and smart, and she made me laugh all the time. She was playful and sincere in bed. But she accidentally decided to sleep with my friend, and I just knew I could never fully trust her to protect my heart again. She didn't love me, at least not the way I needed her to. Call me insecure, call me stubborn, but marriage is supposed to be a safe haven. It's supposed to diffuse stress, not concentrate it. And knowing that she was having sex with Jason, fully aware of it, caused me a lot of stress. The year following our divorce was difficult for me. Marlene may have been inconsolable, but I too felt crushed. I hardly went out anywhere, despite the efforts of friends and colleagues. I hardly saw my family. They were so reluctant to condemn Marlene's actions that I could only take them in small doses. And I'm not sure they didn't see Marlene more often than they saw me. So I mostly sat in my apartment, watched sports, and went on internet porn sites when the stress became too much to handle without releasing it. I got a different kind of release when Jason sought me out, I think to apologize. He was waiting for me when I came home late from work, so there was no one around. "Hello, buddy. I want to clear things up." That was all he had time to say before my fist touched his ear. We're about the same height, and neither of us had much experience in fighting, but I had rage on my side. I washed the sidewalk with it. He left town with 2 black eyes, a broken nose, and a swollen jaw, as well as several bruises all over his body. After that, I took a couple of quiet trips to St. Louis. Jason has always been a car enthusiast. He was unlucky enough to have his M3 completely totaled while he was at the bar watching football on a Monday night. All the windows and mirrors were broken. The paint was deeply chipped from stem to stern. The body was badly dented. The tires were cut, and the interior was spray-painted bright red. His insurance covered most of the damage, and he used the payout to buy a used Porsche Cayman. Unfortunately for him, about 4 months later, someone broke the driver's side window and threw a Molotov cocktail at it as the car alarm went off. It was very expensive for him to get insurance again. No one was looking for me, but even if they had, there were receipts on my credit cards from bars near my apartment. As for revenge, it was probably not enough. It was too modest a satisfaction. But prison didn't appeal to me. In the end, Jason had to live by being the asshole that he was. I haven't seen Marlene since the divorce, and I haven't allowed anyone to tell me about her. She hurt me deeply. However, I hoped that she had found someone to share her life with. We had a lot in common, but it turned out that there was one huge gap in the way we thought about marriage. When I started dating again, I expected to be let down, so I didn't risk my heart at all. I have disappointed more than one woman. I finally realized that I was destined to be alone unless I found the courage to trust someone again. So I decided to be well-intentioned and talk about my experience with Marlene and my expectations for any relationship. I also needed to get back into shape, so I joined a mountain bike club on the weekends. My first day with them turned out to be Prisha's first day, too. She was tall and slender, with long and thick black hair. We were pretty far behind the others, so we spent most of the ride together, talking as we caught our breath. She was lively and smart, and I laughed a lot. When we loaded our bikes at the end of the ride, I wasn't moving very fast, and she seemed to be slow, too. "I know this is last minute," I said, my heart beating too fast. "But if you're free tonight, would you like to go out to dinner?" Her smile was dazzling. "Yes, I would like that." "What did you mean?" "Something every day. What is your favorite food?" "Italian. Isn't that what everyone loves?" "It's important that I love you too." We exchanged contact information and headed home to clean up. I picked her up at 6, and we spent a very pleasant, low-key evening. I received a nice hug and a quick kiss, and it was even more than I expected, so I sailed home a happy man. After that, we met regularly. I was open about my breakup with Marlene. I found out that she had 2 relationships that went sour due to cheating, so we were both a little reserved. We haven't been physically intimate for 4 months. We lay entwined in her bed. We were naked. I pulled away and kissed her, then looked into her shining dark eyes. If we're going to take this step, I have to be the one for you, and you will be the only one for me. Prisha smiled and kissed me back. Exclusive. I like the sound of this. She was an active lover, temperamental and loud. We moved in together after another 4 months. Prisha was warm, generous, and down-to-earth. I was direct and honest. She was organized but flexible enough that I had a good sense of direction. We were very compatible, but also different, to keep things interesting. In addition to cycling and Italian food, we both loved action movies. However, I did not understand her passion for quilting, and my interest in curling also confused her. We both watched Dancing with the Stars, but I was attracted to athletes, and she liked actresses. I worked hard to be clear about what I was thinking about every step of the way. Prisha reciprocated. We never had any explosions. Disagreements were resolved long before they became a problem. We became so close because we could trust each other 100%. No secrets meant no barriers, and trust flourished. I sometimes found myself wishing I had communicated better when I was married to Marlene, one of my distant regrets. Marlene may have doomed our marriage, but I was not without guilt. I simply assumed that we shared the same expectations regarding monogamy. She probably thought so too. We caught each other off guard, and I wonder if we could have avoided this whole unpleasant situation if we had talked in advance. But we didn't, so we hurt each other, and we'll both have to live with that in the future. This experience has made me, I think, a much better partner for Prisha, and that ultimately led us to the altar and to a completely satisfying marriage. Our son Siddharth, we call him Sid, was born 3 years after we got married, followed by daughter Fiad almost 2 years later. Indian-Irish mashup is not common, so we are pretty much unique. And rule number 1 is that nothing is more important than loyalty. Subscribe to our channel so that your second chaff doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think about listening to the next one.